Aloha, everyone. This is Dr. Heather Tucker coming to you. Happy Friday. Today's date is the 17th, I believe, Friday the 17th. And yesterday, I just finished teaching my latest group of Life Harmony coaches virtually. It was absolutely amazing. And I wanted to come and actually share a couple of things with you from that class. So, first of all, like one of the questions that I usually get is, what is life harmony? Why is it so important? What does it even have to do with, and why does it even matter? Well, I want to tell you that life harmony really has to do, the core of it, the core essence of this term life harmony has to do with emotional intelligence, has to do with how much harmony we have in all areas of our life, our business or careers, our relationships, our health, our finances, our free time and fun space. Are we living our purpose and passion and prosperity? And how can we be able to live our purpose and passion in the midst of chaos? So, how can we cultivate peace within the midst of chaos? Oftentimes, as we're going on these battles of or this journey of living our life purpose, there's going to be obstacles and battles that come up. And really, it's about being aware of these battles, being aware of these obstacles, breaking through them, and not letting them hold you back from moving forward. So, um, what is the purpose of all of this? Why do we care about emotion and emotional intelligence? For me personally, I basically have always had a lot of emotions. Have always had a lot of um, sensitivity towards energy and other people. And for a long time, I numbed it out and I ignored it. And my emotional health, I act like it didn't even matter. Continue putting my feelings in my pocket and keep moving forward. What happens is those feelings and those emotions and the experiences that we have, they never really go away until we resolve them. So a lot of times, as we want to try to have a fresh start or moving forward, we get held back by a lot of the patterns that happen from even past experiences or so forth. And it's really a battle of the mind. The mind is like not just the mental, the thinking part, but it's also the emotional part. It's like um, allowing your heart and your head to be on one accord, mind, body, and soul. So have you ever said like, well, my head says this and my heart says this, and then they're conflicted? Well, then that creates a lot of confliction and extra stress and chaos. Or have you ever, uh, for example, said that there was something that you would never do and you end up doing it anyway? And how much do we beat ourselves up about what we do? So a lot of times the biggest battles may not be experiences with other people around us. It can really be the battles that we have, especially within our mind. So it's about breaking through those things, because what is the cost of things staying the same? What is the cost of things staying the same in your life? So, for example, I have to tell you this story. I got to share with you. I was coming back from a Women's Prosperity Network event in New York, and I was 20 minutes from home, and I stopped at the gas station, and I come across this gentleman who had asked for. I saw at another gas station maybe a couple days before Christmas, and he had asked me for some gas. And at first, I was like, no, and then I was like, you know what, no, because there's people that are worse off than me. So the Lord was like, support this man. And I did that. And then I run into him again and I'll check on him and see how he's doing. How are things? And one of the things that I asked him a little bit after our conversation, I said, do you feel like you're living your purpose? Do you feel like you're living your calling? Because we can either hear the call for our life or we can continue to fight against it and endure that pain of us fighting against it. It's almost like, for me, I knew my purpose, but yet I was totally fearful of it, like totally, like probably still not so much now, but it was definitely big over the last couple of years. Um, but we can hear that call for our life, or we can continue to endure the pain fighting against it. Straddling the fence of being part in and part not only really brought me more pain. So what is the call for your life? So I asked him, and he said, um, well, I know I know the purpose for my life. However, I don't want to say it out loud, because if I do say it out loud, that means that I acknowledge it and have to accept it. And then I said, "Oh, well, you definitely have to tell me now what that calling is." And he said that he was to be a bringer of souls, a saver of supporting other people getting saved. And I tell him, I'm like, you don't have to have a great past to have a great future. And God says to us, come to him as we are. And so he was talking about how he wasn't ready. And I said, well, what would it take for you to be ready? And he says, well, my wife has to stop doing this. And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. What will it take for you to be ready? We cannot control other people as much as we would like to control the people in our house. No, we can only influence, we can only respond and be in there with love and forgiveness, etc., etc. And it was a really, really interesting point, because I given him a card to my church, and I also had given him my card, and I had went along my way. And what happens is, a lot of times where there's no vision, the people perish. So a lot of times it's hard for us to be able to see what the future can look like and what could totally be possible, because there may be so much chaos in our present. There may be so much trauma in our past. I was telling him, one of the things he was talking about, well, I'm alcoholic and I do this and I do that. And I told him, I said, typically, people who drink are hiding. There's something that they don't want to face. There's something they don't want to see. People who smoke are trying to forget. So when you're doing both, you're trying to forget and hide. And so what are leading to these patterns, uncovering those things, healing the past, so therefore we can move forward and have a bigger vision for our future. We are not tied down to who we are or called or who we think we are. It's like, there's three representations of you: who you think you are, who other people think you are, and who you are, who you think you are, and who other people think you are. Well, if who you are and who you think you are aren't really the same person, like they weren't for me years ago, then I went on the journey to figure out, well, who am I? And who do I want to be? So now there's peace from Heather in the past, Heather in the present, and Heather in the future. Because that's the only way that we can really be able to move forward. And then the other thing is, we can get caught up so much in our emotions. There was this scripture. Let me see if I can find it for you really quickly. It was Psalms 29 and verse, no, not Psalms 29. Well, I know it's in Psalm somewhere. And it talks about how a fool can be quick to rage and lash out, right? Yet a wise man is calm until the end. So one of the biggest things, and probably the best thing about life harmony and emotional intelligence, is that when someone acts out, where typically we used to want to respond in like anger and strangling that person, then with life harmony, we see it from a place of grace. And we do not let the external situation and circumstance impact our internal feelings, hearts, emotions, and mind. Because a lot of times there's so much more going on in that situation than we even really know. This is really the power of coaching, to be able to see things from a different perspective. I remember I used to be so judgmental in like one view. But then when I started coaching and started working with so many other people, I realized, you know what? It's not really about me. There's so many different things. So it's almost like we are able to meet people where they are. So what does this say? Is and I guess the biggest takeaway maybe from this whole little 10-minute spiel or whatever is that you don't have to have a great past to have a great future. If you were called for greatness, sometimes you have to go through so much more than the average person. And sometimes, yes, it sucks. Um, if I only knew the level of trauma that I experienced and actually processed it when I processed it, I probably wouldn't have been such a crazy adult. But what we think and what we feel is what we do. So it's how we behave. If there's unwanted behaviors, if there's unwanted uncertainties, or if you're trying to figure out how to stress less and strengthen your relationships and even also make more money and step into your own, check out some of our programs. Come become a certified life coach. Come and experience and tap in the beautiful blessings that are already inside of you. I talk about in one of my lectures about how everyone has a lion inside of them, just waiting to be able to step out and break free. And being free is our birthright. So hear the call for your life or endure the pain fighting against it. But when you submit to the call, this I promise you, from when you submit to the call, okay, there's so much joy and there's so much love and there's so much peace and there's so much forgiveness and there's so much healing and there's so much power in being totally present, because that's the best present that we can be able to give ourselves. The past is already gone, although the past is what collects and creates our future. I mean, our present has become a collection of our present, but yet our present is what dictates our future. So how much of the past stuff that we've been battling, how much of that are we living in our present? If this speaks with you, if this connects with you, reach out to me, because you know what? Life is too short to be caught up in these patterns and these struggles. And like I said, the bigger the calling, the bigger the burden and the blessing. So if I don't look like what I've been through, and yes, it's been a lot. Just take my word for it. But yeah, look at this smile. This is probably genuine. I used to just smile just to like, it was almost like for show. It was like behind it's almost like the smile was a mask, but there was so much beyond the smile that no one really knew. Yet now when I smile, it's nothing but like, yeah, man. Yeah, like it's all good. It's all good. And I want everybody to be able to get to that point. Because you know what? It's totally possible. It may not be an easy journey, but it's totally worth it.